All right, this is a little bit different type of content, and I may not put this video out there. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. I want to talk for a moment about Lindsey Graham. Um, some rumors in the past about how he might be homosexual and just hypocrisy on the right, period. And as I've talked about before, I'm a social guy. I'm a culture guy. I'm gonna when you talk, when you listen to my videos, I'm giving you somewhat the way people would have looked at these issues 20, 25, 50 years ago. Because that's how I was raised. So Lindsey Graham, as I understand, has never been married. Um, there's talk about how he's messed with escorts and stuff like that. Um, wouldn't matter to me. He's a scumbag. It's irrelevant to me. I think it's interesting that if that is true, he is, he's living a false life, and he's doing things that harm his own community. He's Senator Lindsey Graham. This came out October of last year, 16th. It's Washington Blade. It's a gay newspaper. Male escorts porn stars create a stir, called him Lady Graham instead of Lindsey Graham. He's hired multiple DC-based escorts over the years who signed non-disclosure agreements. Done much damage over the years, like Roy Cohn, Senator Larry Graham of Idaho. And he's asked about marriage. He said, law of the land is same-sex marriage is not legal. I accept it, conservative state. A lot of religious people around the state who believe in traditional marriage are not bigots, not Neanderthals believing in that. You're a fucking liar. He's never been to South Carolina because they are bigots. They're very nasty people. They go out of their way to show you they don't like it. These are nasty people, period. And they make jokes. This is bullshit. This is trying to. This is bullshit. He's a politician. You know, I know that means you're going for whatever you think the people want, your constituents want. I'm not going too deep into that. But in reading and researching some of the things, other names on here, I came across a guy in Ohio, Wes Goodman. I think he was a Republican congressman, a senator. Anyway, he been married, kind of same situation. I think he ended up getting caught having sex with a guy in his office or something like that. To me, it's very tragic to read these things because I want to be nasty and I want to laugh and I want to say, ha ha ha, you got caught. But I guess, I've gotten older and I felt a great sadness looking at this stuff. These people, they worked hard to get in politics, went to school to get in politics. I'm sure they wanted to do things in this world. You get in politics and you're a fraud. And you know you're a fraud. He was married to some chick for a short time. That ended. I think he never had kids with her and didn't go nowhere with her. And then there were other cases they were talking about where he followed some college student and they kept that quiet. And then other stuff that happened. That's a very empty life. And it's sad that for conservatives, that's the world you're fighting for, that you accept those people as long as they hate themselves. It would be like the police department saying, we'll hire black cops as long as like they're willing to be the most brutal on black people. You're not hiring them like, okay, we want our community to look like our officers. We want to be more diverse. You're hiring them so they can be worse than the white cops. That's wrong. That's immoral, sir. I don't believe in that. And I think that's tragic. You're gonna die someday. You're not gonna live forever. And when you die, you have a legacy. and your legacy can't be what people thought you were. Your legacy's got to be for what you were. We don't look at Dr. King with this whitewashed bullshit. Dr. King was a radical. He said, we're going to get our chick when he went to D.C., Me and Man March. Dr. King was a radical, and he was fighting against capitalism. He talked about America being the greatest purveyor of violence in the world. That stands true today. That's his legacy. That's what I remember. That's what I know. Not this, I have a dream where my children will be with white children and all this other horse shit. They twisted it up, this Christian mythology shit. Nah, man. King was a radical. And you could see as he was getting older, you could see him advance. You could see his ideology maturing. I think it's quite sad. Like I said, it was a time where I looked at this stuff and I'd be like, ha ha ha, that's funny. You got caught. Ha ha ha, I mean, I'm reading about this guy. The reason why I brought him up, this kid here, is a representative. He's a Ohio representative. There were conservative groups in Ohio that knew about him engaging in these type of activities, homosexual activities. And they asked the guy about it. He said, oh, he's a great guy. They said, from our perspective, we look at this, him getting caught fucking with a man. They say it's close to home, but it's another example of why we stand for the things we stand for. What's that? It's not something that causes us to shrink back. It causes us to sadly move forward with a greater sense of determination. Determination to do what? This guy believed in the same things you believed in. This guy parroted the same talking points you you put forward. He just got caught being what he was, what he is. And then he resigned. I'm sure he was pushed to resign. His full career is over with. What does this have to do with the things you stand for? I don't understand that. And I guess it's a good thing too, because we always worry about, like, as we go further in the future, we worry like the Republican Party will become like full of a bunch of Candace Owenses, and it'll become a bunch of what's that coon's name? Candace Owenses and Ben Shapiro's, Jewish guy, and Kanye West's. But what they show you with this is, we'll never accept you. You will never be accepted. You will never fit in. You'll be tolerated. And then we'll weed you out. And it's good, because as a society like America's is growing and becoming more accepting of certain things, that's not cool. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna kosher. You can't ride on that train, bro. That ain't gonna fill your car very far. They don't get your car very far. That dated, tired narrative. And I think that's a good thing. Because that was always my fear was, okay, they're changing, so now they're going to take advantage of... They're not taking advantage of anything. They're just going back to what their ancestors were. Violence, cruelty, viciousness, and violence. So another person says, it's really disturbing. If someone in the Ohio conservative movement knew about it to not tell me, they're going to hear from me. That's your response to him being gay? That's disturbing? You know what I mean? That's my major point here. And I'm not trying to get too deep into Ohio and all that. The guy, Goodman's a fraud. He was a fraud. He is a fraud. That's fine. He lived as a fraud. I can't imagine him getting up in the morning, putting that suit on, and looking himself in the mirror and hating himself. I can't. And you're lonely. Yeah, you're alone, and you're parroting stuff you yourself don't even believe. Or if you do believe it, you're always hit with the reality that you will never be accepted. You're just wearing the clothing. You're pushing the same message, but that's where it ends. And that, to me, is that's a sad place to be. And you got this money. I'm sure they make good money. You make this money and you're alone. In Ohio. That's crazy. And let me say this too. I'm 31 years old. As I get older, I look at the world from a different view than I did when I was in my 20s. And one thing with this post-Trump era, I think about how will the next generation view these things? And I'm not getting into Trump, not getting into COVID, but I'm getting into this man, Wes Goodman and Lindsey Graham or other people who are clearly homosexual or whatever you want to call them, engaged in type activities, but have done everything they could to harm these groups that they're a part of. I know people will say you should accept them anyway. But to me, I don't think that'll be okay. I don't think 20 years from now, people look at that and say, okay, they were, no, I don't think that'll be okay. I think they'll be looked at as shameful. These were people that worked against their own best interests. And these were people that put their hand in with, some very bad people. And I don't think that any of this will look good for them, legacy-wise. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they're like Rudy Giuliani. Maybe they're like, hey, give me the money. Send me the money, baby. Maybe some of them are like that. I don't get it. Maybe they are. Maybe they're making good money and they got backdoor deals. I don't know. But if you're a politician and you care about your legacy, I just don't think that living that way will be accepted. Going into, I didn't used to care about the type of shit. I didn't used to care about the future. I used to care about like the next generation. And I find myself thinking about that with this stuff. What will this look like? How will people view the fact that Trump wasted 3 months on COVID and did nothing? Fuck most people. Fuck most Americans. I'm not talking about most Americans today. I'm talking about the next generation who they can look at it. All the books have been written and they can look at it all in the totality and say, this motherfucker conducted a pandemic. And then made fun of people for taking it seriously. It's like looking at Nixon and all the stuff we know about Watergate. It just, you know, how Nixon referred to John Kennedy a bunch of times. His name was in some of them documents, you know. He called it the Bay of Pigs thing when he referred to John Kennedy. I don't know. I'm gonna deal with one more. This guy was Illinois State Representative Aaron Chirac. I think he's facing some criminal or some civil proceedings going on now as well. That's the only reason why you might have heard of him. He very, very, very anti-gay stuff. He was in office. He was, I guess he was at Coachella and man had hand down his pants or whatever and all this stuff. I don't know. I just thought about it. If all these people, Lindsey Graham included, if it comes out that they all were like that, what does this say for the right? Because I'm a long-term person. I look at the totality and long-term issue of issues. If all these people were secretly gay, or were secretly pedophiles or whatever, and they all this time been like, we believe in law and order and man and a woman and all this stuff, that what does that say about that argument? Like what does that does that kind of make does that kind of like show you that argument is kind of putrid when all these people have been basically living, have basically been disingenuous? That kind of I think it makes the Republican Party look bad. The totality of it. It's just like with climate change. They've mocked climate change, talk about cow farts, and now we're watching results of abrupt runaway climate change. We're watching it, and that should be viewed in the totality of the whole climate issue. Is that you've been downplaying it, and now we're seeing it actually happen worse and faster than the scientists warned it would happen. Same thing with these gay politicians, or these closeted politicians, excuse me. They have, well, I don't like gay people, and they want to rape men and all this. And then come to find out you're playing footsie with an undercover cop in the bathroom. You know, or you're messing with a congressional page. Like, I think it makes them look bad. And the fact that they're willing to throw these guys away like yesterday's garbage it looks even worse. It's like they maybe even know these guys are like that, and they're kind of like, okay, we know it, but he's not doing anything now, right? So we just, and then the minute he does, he's out of here. I'm not gonna show any pictures. These are graphic pictures. He was putting his hands down. He voted against Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Hate Crime Prevention Act, which expands on the 1969 federal hate crime law to include victims targeted because of sexuality and gender identity. So I want to be clear. This isn't just like this guy was like, okay, I don't believe in gay marriage. This guy was against laws that would protect people who are gay or transgender. That's wrong on a different scale. You don't have to support gay marriage to acknowledge that gay people shouldn't be targeted or abused. I don't have to like Asian people. I don't have to go out here and like Asian or look at them in their face or laugh with them or anything to know, hey, they shouldn't be getting targeted and victimized. They're humans. It's like me. It's like you. That's just human rights. Not going to read any of this crap here. This is nonsense. Its fact doesn't make my position any less strong. So it's easy to forget. I'm not reading any of this. I can now live openly because extraordinary brave people who had the courage to fight when they did not. I recognize this even in the face of the intense, vicious criticism I receive from these very same people. I don't feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for him. And I know his mom is not talking to him. I just can't imagine a person living like this and doing things. I guess it goes back to what I said about Ellen DeGeneres, that this person is like, okay, am I rich? Am I a rich white man or am I a gay man? And for them, they're rich white people. That comes first. I'm sorry. These are people who are like, my identity is less important than me making fucking money and making power. And these are people who can be gay and go off to Greece and Mykonos and wherever the hell they go and live that lifestyle and then come here and say, God hates you for being gay. Yeah, God, you're going to hell. You're going to hell. You're going to burn in fire because you're gay. And then you got a picture of him with his hand down another man's pants at a festival. This is what I'm talking about. It is truly hypocritical. And it's actually a little discouraging that in the 2020s, or this was 2010s, 2020s, this era, that there's people out here that are who think and live and operate in such a manner. It's almost like how I said with Kanye West being mentally ill. I said this before, that I wouldn't have anybody around me like Kanye. Even if you can be black and be conservative, and we can have conversations and all that, Kanye is not well. And the fact that white people will put him forward and they'll applaud him as he goes out here and acts a goddamn fool, it shows you there's a trophy for being a coon. There's a trophy for selling people out. But that white people will let him clearly be mentally ill. It's kind of, it shows you how desperate these people out here are, that they're willing to do that because you're still on the page. You're still pushing that message, even though you're clearly not all there. And Kanye, when he did the Oval Office thing, is not there. I'm sorry, sir. That was embarrassing. That wasn't politics, But I just he's dancing in a gay bar, boy bar, Mexico City. There you go. I can travel to other places and live my truth and live my life, but then come back to America and tell people, you're wrong for living your truth and living your life. I said it. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know he went to Mexico City. There we go. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know it. It just came off my head. I was like, well, this is what they do. They're rich. They can travel. Anyway, I just went on too long anyway. It's disturbing. It's shocking. It's tragic. It's hypocritical. And it's sad that a person feels the need to act and live such a manner at this point in in this social era. Thanks for listening.